the ball, if his hand was like this on the side and the ball hit flush, but if his arm was like this and it popped up, I didn't see that.
What's your favorite sport? You a football guy?
I'm a football, baseball, basketball guy. I mean, it's like
just a sports
give
guy.
me a break. I'm American.
Highlight, women's volleyball. You get
No,
those as well?
no, hockey, no. Just soccer, no.
Somebody told me you were an Arsenal fan now.
No, what happened is, Jesus.
It was some bad interview that you...
What happened is I made Robin Hood, 25 years ago, whatever, and I wanted to go see what soccer was all about in Europe, and that was the game I went to, and it was very passionate. I mean, I was up in the owner's box, and some guys looked up, and I think they threw some bolts and shit up at us, like a handful of nuts and washers. I never saw such anger. I mean, it was really anger. But the game itself was filled with singing and passion that I had never seen. And so they adopted me and been saying it for 25 years, so I'm cornered.
But you haven't seen it.
I was just in London and made a movie and went to one of their games. I feel like you got to get over to Mom's house for Thanksgiving, so I had to get over there and see a game.
So they wouldn't throw more things at you?
No, that was the other team. And they let the stands, half the stands, go out.
We're back.
So there would
It's
be no
9/11
fights.
here on Sportsradio 1310 and 96.7 FM.
No.
The Ticket. You've got
Just
the
the
Musers.
volume
David
right
Moore joins us coming up at 9:35. The Ranch Report. We'll talk about the new contract for Jason Garrett and the work ahead of the Cowboys. But right now, it's Gordo's Corner, brought to us by McDonald's and Simple Sleep Services.
Thank you so much, Junior. From time to time here in Gordo's Corner, we like to have struggling community actors come in who are trying to make it, and Kevin Costner joins us in studio today.
Wow.
The great Kevin Costner. He's how many films have you made, Kevin?
I haven't added them up, but I think you might be surprised. I didn't happen for me till I was about 28, so I didn't start off as a 20-year-old, sliding across the living room and bam, it was happening. And I've 3 or 4 times I've just taken a year off. So if you would think of guys in my category, I think if you added up the films, they wouldn't even be close. It's not. I have quite a few, but I think in comparison, not as many. So don't know what that number really is.
Well, we were shocked earlier in the show. We were going through the list of films you've made and how many good ones you've made, and that's I think that's a rarity for someone to rack up so many good films. And your new film is called it's Black or White. I have a screener copy here.
Yeah, I hope you see it. It's that movie's the same to me as Bull Durham or Field of Dreams or Love of the Game or Dances. When I read those movies, I felt like I really wanted to make them. And so when I saw this movie that it hits on racism, but in a really unique way, it's a real authentic look, I think, at where we're at today with race. I hope all three of you guys see it. I was changed when I read it. That doesn't always happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember reading Field of Dreams and thinking, oh my God, if we pull this off, this could be a special movie. Now, would we? Did we? 25 years later, we're still talking about that movie. And I think when movies are working at their very best, right? You've gone to them, learned how to kiss watching Sean Connery. Go, okay, I guess that's how you do it.
You kissed Sean Connery?
No,
Maybe I'm not hearing this story properly.
No, you didn't hear it right. You didn't hear it right. You said you've been drinking already. But we learned so much about in the movies. And sometimes when movies are working at their very best, they do become things you never, ever forget.
How do you think that this movie is going to dovetail in with this national discussion going on about race?
Well,
right
clearly
now?
it will. It's not going to solve it, but what it is it's a great jumping off place because it's not politically correct. And that's really what we need, because when we start dancing around that, we don't get at it. People's feelings get hurt, but because we're not going on. And there's some speeches in here that I would suggest that you guys have probably thought in your own mind. But yeah, that's what I feel. That's what I wish I would have said. And I think that's what makes the movie, number one, entertaining, and number two, something that you end up talking about after you've seen it.
Is this the first time you played a grandfather?
It is. It is the first time.
Was that tough?
I played a young one.
A very young grandfather, yes, a very young grandfather.
How about that?
You played an attractive young grandfather.
Yeah, that was the kissing Sean Connery.
Yeah, right. Kevin Costner in studio
Thanks.
with us.
I knew he'd start really early with me.
Yeah, sorry.
Were you warned about me in any way?
No, I was not.
Thank goodness.
But I listened for 2 minutes and I figured it out.
Well, let me ask you
Just
this.
like that gunfight. You the one who killed my friend? Boom, we get you first.
Get me first. That's right. You made a movie here in Texas
I did.
pretty early on.
Yeah.
How much time have you spent in Texas? What's your opinion of the state?
Well, I like the way it's shaped, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a good-looking state.
It is a good looking.
It is. We drew it well.
We're
But
very proud of
I've
it.
made Fandango here, Perfect World, and of course JFK, right here in the city, and it's great. You know, I have a great friend, Augie Garrido, who coaches UT baseball in Austin, and this has been a really good place for me. The way I've been treated, I've played music here, so I like coming down here.
See, I want to get into that because you're a musician too. And how much do you love playing music? Like, would you compare that to your love of acting and performing?
I like it. You can't imagine. It's like, you know, it doesn't matter how you're feeling. When you get up on stage and all of a sudden the drums start boom, 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 boom. It just is like being in the ocean and a wave picks you up. It's a great feeling. And when you're playing with your friends, and in our instance, we play original music. So I don't really play covers. Maybe if we play 15 songs, I'll play one cover. So I love playing our music, and it's been I didn't know where the music was going to really take me. I decided that, you know, when I make these movies, I'm stuck somewhere sometimes 2-3 months in a community, and all I become is an autograph opportunity or a picture or somebody you spot at the market. And I always thought, you know, I wish I could just go to a club, and if people wanted to be around me in a genuine way and it wasn't going to break down to just those two things, that we could hang out for a couple hours. And that's how I started the music. And 10 years later, we played all around the world, 3 times on the Grand Ole Opry. We played in the Kremlin. So it's been a really interesting thing, but it's very indicative of my career, which is I do what I want to do, and then it somehow takes me somewhere.
Mm-hmm. And we want to mention he's also playing Barnes & Noble tonight, just an acoustic set.
I'm going to break it down acoustically.
Yeah.
You know, when that line forms and I don't show up, somebody's going to have to.
Don't come after me.
It's going to be you, and you're going to do a 10-minute set.
Yeah, and we should mention that the one cover song that he does when he does a cover is Black Eyed Peas. He's a huge Black Eyed Peas fan.
No, I've heard their stuff. It's good. The Modern West.
Yeah.
You got some good pickers around you. And,
Yeah.
I saw that when that clip of you playing at the Grand Ole Opry. That had to have been surreal standing on that stage.
It was, you know, and I actually did a song on it with my daughter, who wrote. You know, I did this a concept record. One of the records we play rock and roll, but I did a concept record about making Hatfields and McCoys, and it was really all about my experience making it because it was such an angry moment in time and movie, and I just had these feelings, and so I called the record "Famous for Killing Each Other," and it's all, you know, it's every song has to do with that movie, and it's a very Appalachian kind of sound, so it's half instrumental and it's half lyrical, so it's a pretty good record called "Famous for Killing Each Other," but it's, for the most part, when we play out, we're just trying to keep the party going.
Right.
I will just say this: I like playing in front of people who are standing and are drunk.
Yeah.
You know, just a second ago, you kind of listed some of your big hits, some of the movies that you're known for. Is there one that you're the most proud of?
Well, you know, there's not. I tell you what I am, is I'm really glad that my career hasn't boiled down to a single movie. And what I mean by that is, you know, people come up to you, and sometimes I don't know what's going to come out of their mouth. And that's good. You know, I don't know if they're going to say Dances or Untouchables or Field of Dreams or Bodyguard. I don't know where they're going to go, Open Range, or you just. I've been really gratified with that. Waterworld, for that matter, is a very beloved movie around the world, and I know it's been kicked to the curb. But a lot of people, it's kind of a, you know, that's a movie. So for me, you know, it's JFK. I'm happy about that. I will tell you this: I love making westerns, and I will hope to make a few more. There's just something about putting the guns on and riding the horse and getting the bad guy.
You're great in sports movies, though, and the
Thank
thing
you.
is, you're believable. The golf swing was very believable from a guy who works on a range in Texas
Yeah.
and tries to qualify.
Well, it was a little
and your baseball
knockdown swing.
Yeah, a little knockdown, but your baseball swing was very believable too.
Yeah, well, I grew up playing all 3 sports, and basketball, baseball, and football, and I did it. I think like every kid from season, what was in playing, that's what you're playing till the streetlights went on. And I mean, that was my signal to come home. And when I did, and boy, I'd see my dad coming down the street, and I'd just look up at those streetlights and go, Jesus, where did the time go? And I'd run across the street to get away from him and then hurry back to the house to get in for dinner. But everything about playing baseball when you're a kid for me was, fixing broken bats with the little nails and the electric tape. That's what we did.
Yeah.
And you no chips on windows, and you learned how to place hit because sometimes you're just playing with 4 guys on each side, and if the guy hit it to right field, you go, look, there's nobody there, man. You can't
You just ruined the game.
You can't do that. So, the way I grew up was really that, and everything you learn about being fair comes from sports. You can stack a team or you can make the team even. So it's you learn so much about people, in sports, and even at a young age.
Kevin Costner joining us in studio. I want to ask you about this. When you take 2 years off, for example, from making movies, what do you do? Are you out there? Do you have an odd art collection? Are you searching for the Ark of the Covenant? What do you do?
Yeah, my life is so much bigger than the movies. I mean, that's what I'm known for. That's how people see me, either a magazine or an interview or something. But, I never thought I was going to have money, guys. I just didn't. And you don't draw a life like mine. It's been a really good ride. So, I thought it was something else was going to happen. So, when all this good stuff happened, the money came rolling in, or whatever you want to say, I haven't spent my life trying to make my pile bigger. What I have done is done the things that are interesting to me, and cleaning up oil spills was interesting to me. Hunting, fishing, they're interesting to me. Writing is interesting to me. Watching my kids play, for myself playing. My life, I'm a menace under the ocean. I'm like trying to stab everything. I'm not a sightseer. I want to, and my kids now, whatever they catch, they go, is this an eater? And it's like, because that's what we do. My life is almost like it was when I was a kid, except I have this cool job that takes me around the world. And, it's been a good role for me.
Mm-hmm. And using this money to fuel your boyhood passions. I didn't know you were a hunter. So you've been on safaris and things like that?
No, I don't do that. I have bird dogs.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up, doing that. I built canoes. I went down the rivers that Lewis and Clark went down. There's a sense of adventure for me. It's not surprising I made Westerns. It's not surprising. I mean, I signed a ball for somebody just before I came over here, and the guy asked me, is it hard signing balls? I said, no, not really. I said, I started practicing that when I was in the 5th grade, because I thought I would be a professional.
You're going to be a ball player.
I'd say, jeer this, and of course I wasn't very good in school, as you can imagine. But it's a lot of actors have that angst, right? You see beginning actors, they come in and there's something that's wrong or off, but the acting coach says, okay, show anger, and they tear up the couch and they throw it. I was always amazed by that. That was probably the hardest thing for me in acting, was to show anger, because I didn't have it. Number one, it wasn't tolerated in my house. My dad would say, what did you just say?
And that was enough.
That was enough.
Yeah.
And so for me, my life has been, while it hasn't been perfect, it's almost been like Huckleberry Finn. Whatever I thought I could do, I just did.
Did you raft down the Mississippi, or is that
no? I
wasn't completely like
no.
You build a canoe though.
Yeah.
What about what kind of bird
named
dogs?
Jim? Anything like?
You are just going to spear me when you get the chance. I know it.
What kind of bird dogs?
Well, I started off with German Shorthairs, then I went Springer Spaniels, and then I've just stuck with Labs.
Oh, nice.
And then my wife went out and got this dog, this Labradoodle dog. I think he's going to be a really good little hunter, but honest to God, it was all because he wouldn't shed, and it's like, but man, that thing's ended up in the bed too. I can't believe it. And my house is just
Don't get that started.
I know. There you go again.
Yeah. And finally, I want to ask you this, because we always debate this on the show, because Craig over here is obsessed with this website, celebrityworth. Whatever it is,
CelebrityNetworth.com.
And I always say it's wildly inaccurate. And since you brought up money, you don't have to tell us how much money you're worth, but it says you're worth $150 million. Just tell us if it's accurate or not. Wildly inaccurate or not.
It's not accurate.
Thank you. See there?
He guessed you were worth
Look
10,
at this
10
Stop
billion.
going to that
expert
website.
testimony that I brought in studio to disprove your claim. All right, the new film is Black or White, and Kevin Costner is in it, and I'm excited to watch it, and I'm excited that you were in studio today, mainly because I already introduced you to this woman sitting over in the corner. That is my mother, who is the lifelong Kevin Costner fan, and the source of division in my parents' marriage, her love for you. So you've caused a lot of familial strife in my family.
Well, listen, everybody has to pass the mom test.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, that mom over there loves you, and I'm glad she got to come in here and meet you, and thank you for shaking her hand. That was very sweet of you.
Thanks,
Thank
Kevin.
you. Kevin Costner in studio in Gordo's Corner.
All right, thank